Welcome to your favorite part of the day. It's when you get to learn a little bit more about math. I know you guys were all looking forward to it, so let's get going here. Today is the seventh little lesson that we're doing in this unit. It's about angle relationships in triangles. And your learning target is I can find the measure of interior and exterior angles of triangles and apply theories about interior and exterior angles of triangles. All right, so let's get going on some of those theories. So let's start out by taking a look at a few theories here. And the first theory we're going to take a look at, it says that the triangle sum theory says that all angles in a triangle will add up to be 180 degrees. I think that's something that you guys know, but essentially I'll kind of go through it again real quick. If we're given a triangle like this here, what that's saying is that all three angles will add up to be 180 degrees. The next theory is that the acute angles of a right triangle are going to be complementary. So again, if we're looking at a triangle like this here, and we've got a right triangle, that means that these two angles on either side, those are going to be complementary. Remember, complementary means that they're going to add up to be 90 degrees. The next theory says that the measure of each angle of an equiangular triangle is 60 degrees. Here we have a triangle and all angle measures are 60 degrees. If they have equal angles, there's 180 degrees in a triangle, that means all of them have to be 60 degrees. The fourth theory here is it says the measure of an exterior angle of a triangle is equal to the sum of measures of its remote interior angles. That one's a difficult one, so let's take a look at an example. Alright, an exterior angle is one that lies outside of a triangle, okay? So like right here, this is the exterior angle of this triangle. Now, the measure of this angle is the same as its remote interior angles, which means the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 will equal this angle. Alright, last one, it says if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two other angles of another triangle, then the third pairs of angles are congruent. Alright, we have two triangles here. They're supposed to be given that these two angles are congruent. We're also given that these two angles are congruent, and if that is true, then this third set of angles, this one and this one, those ones must also be congruent. So now let's work on an example. And example 1 says that after an accident, the positions of cars are measured by law enforcement to investigate the collision. Use the diagram drawn from the information collected to find the indicated angle measures. Okay, and this first one that we need to find is the measure of angle XYZ. That's XYZ, that means we're finding this angle measure right here. Okay, not including this little skinny piece, just this angle measure right here. Now what we know about a triangle is that all of the angles add up to be 180 degrees. That means that the measure of angle XYZ would be equal to 180 minus 62 plus 40, right? Because if these two angles added up together, subtracted from 180 will give us this missing angle. So now we can just solve 180 minus 62 plus 40 is 102. And 180 minus 102 is 78 degrees. Therefore, the measure of angle XYZ is equal to 78 degrees. Now for B, I'm going to let you guys do this one, but B says the measure of angle YWZ, YWZ meaning Y to W to Z, we're finding this angle right here. Now we already just found out what this angle is, so you can use this angle and the 12 degrees and the 40 degrees that we know Z is, and go ahead and solve for that. So why don't you pause the video and try doing that on your own. Alright, example 2 says one of the acute angles in a right triangle measures 2x. What is the measure of the other acute angle? Okay, so what we know then is that here's a right angle. One of these angle measures is 2x degrees. And we just need to know what the other measure is. That's what it's asking. Okay, we know this one's 90. This is 2x. And so this one we know the angle measure of both of these together is also going to be 90 since all of the triangle equals 180. So this angle measure then has to just be 90 minus 2x degrees, since we know this one is already 2x. That's all you have to do for example 2, so not too bad. Example 3 asks us to find the measure of angle B. Angle B would be this angle right up here, since B is right here. And what we do know about this is we know that this is an exterior angle right here marked by 5x minus 60 degrees. And we know that that angle measure, based on the theory that I gave earlier, has to be equal to the sum of both of these angles right here. So what we could do is we could go ahead and add these two together, set it equal to this angle, and then solve for x, and then we'll know how we can plug that back into this angle in order to really solve. So we know then, to summarize, we know that 15 plus 2x plus 3 is going to equal 5x minus 60. Okay, so let's combine like terms here. 15 and 3 make 18 plus 2x is equal to 5x minus 60. I'm going to get x over onto this side, so I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. This is just algebra now. We get 18 is equal to 3x minus 60. I have to add 60 to both sides. Remember, just trying to get x by itself, I'm left with 3x is equal to 78. I'm going to rewrite this up here now. 78 is equal to 3x. Have to divide by 3 on both sides in order to get x all by itself. I'm not that great at some math, not as good as some of you guys, so if I take my calculator here, take 78, divide by 3, I end up seeing that that's 26, so x is equal to 26. Okay, now that I know x is equal to 26, I can plug that back into this equation and solve for what the measure of angle B is. So the measure of angle B is equal to 2x plus 3. We're just going to plug 26 in for x. 2 times 26 is just 52, and I know that because 2 times 25 is 50. And we end up getting 55 degrees is the measure of angle B. Super happy. Alright, example 4 says to find the measure of angle K and the measure of angle J. That's these two angles right here. And if we remember back at those theories at the beginning of this lesson, it said that if we have two triangles where we have two angles, this angle, and then this angle and this angle, that are congruent, then that third angle has to be congruent as well. So it's the same type of thing as example 3. We know that these two angles are going to be equal, so we can just set them equal to each other. So we have 4y squared is going to be equal to 6y squared minus 40. Okay? Now it's just a matter of solving the equations. I'm going to go ahead and subtract 6y squared from both sides, minus 6y squared. And I end up getting negative 2y squared is equal to a negative 40. Okay? Now I need to get rid of this negative 2 that's next to the y squared. And to do that, I have to divide by negative 2 on both sides. And I end up getting y squared is equal to negative 40 divided by negative 2 is a positive 20. Because negative divided by negative is a positive. And then the last step is I have to get rid of this square root. And to get rid of a square root, we have to do the opposite of squaring, which is finding, this is the square, so we have to use the square root. I gave you the answer already. So we're going to use the square root of both of those. The square root of y squared, that just cancels each other out. We're left with y equals the square root of 20, which you can just leave as this answer right here, is that y equals the square root of 20. Now, that's great and all, but we'll have to go back and plug that in. Okay, we'll have to go plug that back into each equation to find out what those angle measures are. I'm just going to use this one because I know those are going to be both. So I have 4 times y, which is, remember, the square root of 20 squared. Okay, order of operations that say that I must do the exponents first. So the square root of 20. So I do the square root
of 20. And I could actually press enter there. And then I square it. I have 4 times 20. And 4 times 20 is just 80. So the answer is 80 degrees is the measure of angle K. And the measure of angle J, well, you could do it by yourself, but it's also going to be 80 degrees as well. That's it. Have fun. Hope you enjoyed it.